All right, in this lesson we're going to talk about setting the attributes, the height and width of different elements. I think you've already been using this a little bit with regards to images and what have you. But really any element, you can specify the height and width of any element, and then you can also specify the maximum height and width of a specific element. And I find I use that a lot when I'm receiving information. Let's say that you started to be able to put your pictures on the site. You might like upload a photo of yourself. You might put in a photo that's 500 by 500, and I don't want that photo to be that big. But I also don't want to specify that it has to be 100 pixels by 100 pixels, like 100 pixels high and 100 pixels wide, because different people submit different photos with different sizing, and I can screw things up if I make everything look exactly the same. So what we're going to talk about here is just how you specify height and width of elements. And then sometimes you're going to want to specify, rather than saying exactly what the height and width is, you want to just say it's a maximum of this height or a maximum of this width. Okay, so first let's take a look here. I've put it in some text. I have an image, a crest, and I have a paragraph with a bunch of text. Let's just see what that looks like here. Okay, so we have the image. It inherits whatever I uploaded. This is how big it is. And then this is a paragraph with a bunch of text. I'm going to show you how you can specify height and width of text elements as well. So click here. First off, let's start with the image. And so I'm going to say image, and I'm going to say that the image has a height of 100 pixels. Okay, and remember, each pixel is just a portion of the screen. You want to get a sense of how much space you have when you're working with it, and then you can decide how much space you want any particular image to use up. So save work and show image, and you can see that makes it so this is now 100 pixels high. Now it automatically maintains the aspect of the image, so it makes it whatever width it should be based on that 100 pixel height. But if I wanted to, I could elongate it and make 200 pixel width as well. So you can see that stretches it out. But that's not typically what you would want. So what you're going to want to do is say your height, and then that is going to maintain the right dimensions of the image. But what if you're not sure, and this happened to be a very wide image, but one that was not very high? That could take up a lot of space. So you might want to say that I'm going to, rather than specifying what width it is, let's say that I say a maximum width of 100 pixels. Okay, so that way I know that it's not going to be bigger than that. And I could also do the same thing here. I could do I don't have to say height equals 100 pixels. I could say maximum height. So that way, if it's smaller than 100 pixels, it's not going to be stretched out, right? So you can see that shows up the right way I want. And I'm doing it right now in pixels, but I can also do what are called percentages. I can just do percentages, and I can say, so for instance, I want an image. If I do its height, the one that it comes with, which is the default, then it's just going to be my default size. So I'm going to say height equals auto. Okay, and you can see that it's very big. I can also go here and specify that I want the height to be so rather than it being auto, I want to make it 25% of the space. You can see it makes it smaller there. So that's something that you can experiment with, which is percentages versus pixels. Okay, the other thing I want to show you here is, so you have this paragraph element, and remember, the text is inside the paragraph element, but what if I wanted to say that the space that I've allotted for the paragraph element is only a certain amount? So I'm going to say height equals 50 pixels. Okay, and I'm going to, just to make it obvious what I'm doing, I'm going to say background color is green. So look at what this is going to look like here. I'm going to just take this off first to show you. Okay, so I'm taking some of those words out, and let's go back. So I click Save Work and Show Web Page. So this creates a space. The paragraph element is 50 pixels high. It defaults to the entire size of the screen. And then I have my text in there. Great. No big deal. But and then look what I do here. If I click Edit, and then I put in some of this, put a little bit more of this text in here. Now this is going to use more than 50 pixels of space in order to be displayed. So if I click Save and Show Web Page, you can see now the text is coming out of the space. But my paragraph element, I have defined and said I want this to be 50 pixels high. And this is where, you really, I want you to understand how much control you have over the screen. The text will keep going, but because you have specified a certain height, the background color of green is going to be defined there and limited to that height. Okay. Now, if I took this away, the height equals 50%. It will just the screen will just, or the paragraph element will expand to show all of the images there, or all of the text within the green background, as you can see here. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to take an image and then also take a paragraph element and experiment a little bit with giving it specific heights and widths, and using height in percentage and width in percentage to explore how dimension works in cascading style sheets.